Well, Jay, can't thank you enough for hosting us out here in Mississippi. We've been doing business for, 3-4 years now?
Yeah.
And it's been awesome watching your business grow and develop as ours has. And we've been talking about getting together for a long time. And this has just been a fantastic trip. So appreciate you having us here and
appreciate
your family for being such great hosts.
It was, I know you remember we had put that big job together in New Mexico and had the deal done and fixing to go work for a man I've never met before. And one day I was walking down the hall and I said, we fixed to spend a lot of money out here on this thing. I ain't ever met this man before. So called you up and went out there, me and my wife, met you and your wife, and ended up hitting it off, had a great time and supper that night, and didn't even have a contract with you. And we shook hands on it, and you said, I'm a man of my word. And I said, well, all right, well, we're going to see. And you've been a man of your word. And I think we've just about completed the whole job before we really had the contract locked in.
Yeah, well, that was a great job. It was a great experience. And, for us I think the true testament is when it was done, we've done more work together.
Correct. And that's always a true sign of if, no matter what anybody says at the end of the job, but if you don't work for each other again, then there was a problem somewhere that may not have been brought up. But as we continue to be we're working for you now and quoting some stuff for you now. So hopefully it seems like you may have been satisfied with us, and you know that I've got to make money, and I know that you got to make money, and it's fun to team up with someone that understands that. And if you need some help on something, you call me. If I need some help on something, we call you, and we get it done, keep moving project forward, and make the owner happy.
Well, spending the last, 24 to 48 hours together has been exciting because I've got a chance to see your operations, listen to your history, and listen to the evolution of the business that is now Shackelford Construction and Hauling and other entities. But tell me a little bit about the beginning. When did you wake up and decide Shackelford Construction and Hauling was going to be your new way of life?
Well, I was managing fish ponds when I was, which is a big thing in the Mississippi Delta. And I did that for 10 years managing, several years before that working, and got into construction business with the guy that was in the construction business. And I was moving dirt on the ponds and stuff, rebuilding levees and putting pipes in and stuff like that. And we went in business. We had a partnership, did good. We decided to go our separate ways. And I decided to get out at the time and went and sold equipment for Komatsu. And, just always liked it and loved it. I always wanted to do something outside, smell the dirt and, sweat and sometimes tears. But then got back in with some people and ran a company for them with a small percent ownership in it. And we did a lot of commercial work on that. And I ran that company for 5 years for them, and had a lot of family involved in the company and all. And unfortunately, I went through a divorce at the time and decided I needed to make a change in my life. So I left them and went back to selling equipment. One of my other friends called me, and he had swapped over to another dealership. And he goes, "Man, what you gonna do?" And he said, "Come sell for me." So I sold for them for H&E Equipment out of Louisiana. They had a branch here, and did that very well, and supported my family and all. But at the same time, I had in the back of my head, I'm gonna get back in. So I was buying a little bit of equipment because I was seeing used equipment around. So if I come across a deal, I was buying a little bit of equipment and stuck it in my shop. And weekends I'd work on it and do some stuff here and there, and just gradually. And then my wife wanted to. She's been a teacher for then it was 20 years or whatever, and she didn't know what she wanted to do when she got out, but she knew she wanted to work. So we started a little landscape business here in Yazoo City. And
oh, really?
Sewed rocks, and she had pottery, and I had a bulldozer and rub tire backhoe and 6-yard truck, and the guy got a little 8-yard truck, and on weekends I'm helping run around and doing stuff like that. And after school, my daddy run it. He was retired from military for 42 years, and he running and during the day, and then she got off work, she'd come over there, and that was going to be her deal. And, we was doing driveways, and then we got into some ponds and this, that, and other.
Slowly building.
Just kind of slowly building it out. And I just, finally started, one of my sons, Reeves, he come back and wanted to do some work around. So she's actually got a company still called Down to Earth that she owns 100%.
Really?
And
does landscaping?
No, we don't do any landscaping now. She has done some work for like Yates and stuff at the federal prison.
Okay.
Where that even though she's not certified as a woman-owned business, but she is classified as a 100% woman-owned business. So that does help in some of it. And she did some work out there. She owns equipment, and so we use her equipment, and she uses my equipment when we get a case. Hadn't done much in a long time.
Yeah.
So Reeves ran it. We just started doing commercial work here and there, and got the opportunity from a friend of mine. Said, look, the Bakken's hitting in North Dakota, and you need to look at some of these prices that they're getting up there. They can't get enough people up there, enough equipment up there. And I started looking at the prices, and they were about 25% higher than what we can get here.
Wow.
And so I looked at it real hard, and my wife kept been telling me, look, that's what you want to do. It's what you love. You need to go back in business. The boys want to go back in business, which Clint was in high school. And so we started Shackelford Construction then, and I left the equipment world and
moved up north and
went up there. It's you get about halfway up there, and you got 3 low boys behind you and 5 more low boys coming behind that with equipment, which wasn't my low boys. I couldn't haul that far with the old truck I had. And we went up there, and my son Hunter had graduated college and was selling trucks at the Mac place, and was still going to do through physical therapy what he's majoring in. And he come back to me and he goes, look, I need a break from school. I'm not a salesperson.
Yeah.
Let me go run your North Dakota stuff. But we still had a commercial, and that was going to be all oil field work. So he said, let me go run that for a year or two, however long you're there, and I'll decide what I want to do then. So we moved up there, and he stayed up there for 18 months, come home 4 times.
Wow.
We moved a lot of dirt. We was in Watford City, North Dakota, and we got there just as it was starting. So we met the locals and just hit it off
hit the ground.
Very nice people up there. And, they just took us underneath their wings. I mean, you go in there and you order fuel from the fuel company, and they bring it to you, and, leave, not even send you a bill, and I call it like, hey, I figured y'all want a check, He go, when you back in town, come. I never met these people.
Really?
Yeah, they were that trustworthy.
That's cool.
We go up there and get talking.
That's cool. Good people up there.
And it was kind of strange up there because all the women run the stores. They run the parts houses, the tractor dealership, parts in the tractor dealership, because all the men are out in the oil field and the cattle ranches.
I got you.
So the women do that, and let me tell you, they were sharp. But Hunter stayed up there and ran that when I run a commercial division, and I was flying up there, swap planes 4 or 5 times to get up there, and polo jumpers to it was a nightmare up there, and no rental cars. I mean, it was just one day Missy had me in a U-Haul truck. I rode all over North Dakota in a U-Haul truck with signs all over the side of it. And all
wow.
It was the only thing we had. And I was like, I got to have a car, baby, a truck. And she's like, I got you one. I don't know if you're going to argue or not. I said, where is it at? She said, go to the U-Haul place
and pick it up.
I did that twice. They had me in a van one time.
Really?
But it wasn't no vehicles.
What types of projects were these up there?
They were all oil field projects that we'd go in there. And,
so pads
they were doing huge pads up there. So they have what they call the frost law. Once the ground starts freezing, you can move equipment. Well, it's hard to move equipment when the roads are iced over.
Yeah.
But when it starts thawing out, until it gets completely thawed, it's a frost law, and you can't move equipment. So there's times in there you may not be able to move equipment 2 or 3 months. So they would go in there and build these big pads, or we would build these big pads. So what they'd do, they've got these rigs that they would punch a hole in the ground. When they got through drilling, they'd get them up and walk them to another place, and they may drill 4, 5, 6 holes on one pad.
Oh, I got you.
So because they can drill any direction they want to nowadays.
Yeah.
So we did that. Luckily, like I said, we got in early, and there was a bunch of there were some guys up there, developers that we started working for, building industrial parks for, and that's kind of what guys made us survive was because they would write me a check every Friday. Where I was having to wait a while on the oil companies for that check to come in. So
so cash flow was a big part in that.
Big part in that. I mean, 'cause you got a lot of money tied up, and oil companies pay very well, but they pay very slow sometimes. Especially when there's much going on as that is. So they kept us busy, and then we got over and just so happened a friend of mine bumped into another guy I know in Denver, and he's like, "What are you doing up here?" He said, "Well, I'm up in the Bakken." He said, "Well, Shaq's up there too." He said, "Really?" So I didn't think nothing about it. Well, they got to buying. They were building some railroad. And they got to buying about 2 weeks later, and he called me and he said, "Man, you still up here?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I need some equipment." I said, "Well, how many operators?" He said, "I don't need no operators. I just need equipment." He said, "We got some operators." Well, my stuff, thank God, was busy, but we had created a group up there because I'm telling you, it's like the Wild West. I mean, it was some crazy stuff going on up there. And it was the guy from Arkansas, me, guy from Alabama, just some Southern boys that we got together. And if we needed help or something like that, we helped each other. We kind of working for the oil companies was no problem getting money, but you better watch working for people who's coming from all over the world.
So how did the local? I mean, were there local earthwork companies up there that weren't really welcoming the guys coming from the South, or was none of that? There was no bad blood up there.
It was so much work up there. No, there was none of that. I
really?
Never. And the town I was in, little community we was in, I really off the top of my head, I don't know of anybody that was even there that did dirt work. Now Williston, back that direction, that was a lot there. Back toward Monahans. I mean, that was cool. But you got to remember now, it's an oil field that has never really had done a lot of production.
Sure.
They've had some ups and down booms, but once they started the fracking,
then
it changed. Because we talked to locals like, "Why ain't y'all gearing up? I mean, y'all got one grocery store, you got one." He goes, "Man, we've seen booms before." I don't think you've seen this kind of boom. Y'all never fracked before.
Yeah.
And, oil was 80, 90, up to $100 a barrel. And, we had to change our equipment. We had to put heavy duty starters on them. We had to put new different batteries in there.
Because of the weather.
All the oil was different up there. So it took about $6,000 per piece of equipment to get it ready to work in the temperatures up there. Because there was times that we worked 12 below.
Wow.
And I mean, it's you better wrap up at 12 below, and and it's hard to move dirt. We
thermal underwear on.
Look, and here's you saying that we wouldn't let any of our people buy their clothes from around here.
Yeah,
you had to buy them up there. Because what keeps you warm here don't keep you warm up there. It's different type clothing. So we bought all our clothes and stuff up there for the guys and. Yeah, so that was
you probably can't find clothes down here that would even work.
Not like that. Not like that.
Yeah,
no. And we learned a lot from the locals because we become friends with them, and they helped us a lot. Some of the farmers, I mean, it was times we left our equipment running out 24 hours a day.
Really?
We would run it, and then we would sit there and not run it. Just let it sit there and idle all night long,
just to keep it warm.
Keep it warm. We were shattering pins that were probably an inch and a quarter pins on our dirt pans. And when we'd crank it up, and the guys would sit there and hit the hydraulics, that oil was so thick, and when it finally went through, those pins were so cold, it looked like somebody sheared a butter knife. I mean, I come back to Crabtree's down here, and these were Crabtree pans, and I asked him, I said, "You got any bad metal that you come in?" He said, "No." And I said, "I've never seen this type pen wear out, but I've never seen one break over the years.
Yeah.
I've been fooling with them for, since the early 90s. And he was like, "There's no way." We showed him some pens, but just found out that's just how cold it got, and you wouldn't think that would happen.
It's
but
crazy.
Yeah, we toted tires around. We were like a bunch of gypsies running around with tires because we had to park all our equipment on tires to keep, on the ground, to keep them freezing from the ground.
When did you start moving in to the rail side of things?
When he called my buddy and wanted that equipment, I did get him some equipment over there from some friends, but they worked for 2 or 3 weeks using that equipment. We're about 3 or 4 weeks later, he called me and he said, "Look, I need your equipment. I need your men. I need your superintendent. everything.
I need everything.
And luckily, it just worked out. We had just got through with a big oil pad.
Yeah.
And the permits were slow, so I was kind of hung up with nothing to do. So we went over there, and next thing I know, I was working for him for 2 months. And first time we'd ever built rail. And he had all their guys that
really
was there showing us what to do and how they wanted, stuff like that. And we built all that. And next thing I had everything I had over there. And they had gotten in a pretty good bind, and we bailed them out of it. And
so you were supplementing then. You were helping somebody else get a job knocked out. Really?
So turned around and they liked our work, liked what we did. Asked me would I go to San Antonio, and I told them it was a hell of a lot closer than North Dakota. Yes, sir. I'll go. And winter was coming on, so we went down to San Antonio and started building track for them there. And then they wanted more equipment, and it worked out perfect because we was coming into the next winter. And I won't never forget, we got everything out, and you had to go through what we call the Badlands. It was real deep coming up. And Steven, that you met yesterday, he was driving a lowboy for me. So people have been with me. We've had all kind of positions.
Sure.
And he called me and he said, snowstorm's coming in, boss. He said, I hope I can get out here in the morning.
Really?
So he started that morning. He took off, and he told me, he said, it's snowing behind me like we see rain kind of following us. And he said, if I can just get through the Badlands, he said, I think I can make it. And he liked to not made it up the hill on the other side, spinning just a little bit as it's snowing. And we made it on in close to South Dakota. Wow. And he pulled over. It got dark, pulled over. And the next morning he was going to head out if he could. And the fog, he took pictures of it. You could not see the hood of the truck.
Was that bad?
Just fog.
Jeez.
And I said, look, don't take no chance on that. If there's no way. He said, well, there's a heavy hauler beside me. He's got an escort. He said, they're steady on the phone trying to do like we.
Sure.
He said, as soon as he pulls out, I'm pulling out right behind his escort. And sure enough, it lightened up a little bit. And he said he took off, and he said I took off behind him. He said luckily it wasn't 5 miles down the road; it was completely gone.
Wow!
And they made it all the way to Texas, and we ain't been back to North Dakota. We've been to Montana working and stuff like that, but not in the winter. That's brutal.
Was the San Antonio work loop track work, or what kind of work was that on the rail?
It was in Kelly Airfield. It was old air base. And we built some track through there, just some storage tracks.
Okay.
I've been back there a couple of times and added on through it. So that was a new experience. Went in there on some of it was concrete across the old air base, and we just put sub battles on top of it and went on.
Really?
Yeah. It was had inlets and stuff that we put steel plates over, and we turn around and just come through. And that was kind of a strange deal when I owned my second rail job to build. But after that, we've worked for them for 9 years. And
that was about 9 years ago when that all went down?
Yep.
Wow.
So we got into rail business, and, rail business is very, very hard to get into.
Sure.
A lot of my buddies try to get in for years. But once you get in like that, then I turn around and, bid a job with one of them, and they'd lose. And they'd say, look, call so-and-so company. Tell them I told you to call.
Yep.
And I tell them to call, and they say, well, yeah, send me your number. And next thing I know, we work for that rail company, and then another rail company, and they all know each other. It's a huge industry, but it's a very, very, very small group of individuals that everybody knows each other, and you know how that works. If you mess up,
you're done.
The whole industry knows.
Yep.
So you have to, it's a dangerous job. It's we work beside moving trains all the time.
Yeah.
Fooling with a lot of toxic chemicals, like explosives and chemicals. And then we started working in the chemical plants doing rail. And then that got us working straight for the chemical plants. So that helped us expand into that. So, and that's just kind of how we got going.
So right now, the primary services that Shackelford, your core business, is earthwork, and then you do some utility. We talked about that a little bit.
We're
mostly
probably
drainage, right?
We're probably it varies depending on the oil business is probably where it varies a lot. The chemical plant business and rail is pretty steady. The rest of it in the oil business, we'll run 50% rail in the company, and years we may get up to 65, 70% rail. Then other than that, it'd be chemical plants, and then when you get involved, you'll do some little utilities. I never go bid just a utility job.
Yeah,
I have people call me, and we're just not set up to do stuff like that. If we got some utilities on our jobs, then yeah, we'll do it. If we're GCing a job and it's a big job with a lot of bulk dirt, we're moving 500,000 yards, something like that, I may sub the utilities out.
Yeah.
It may be $200,000.
You got to look at it both ways to say what makes most sense and where are you performing the work. If it's a place that you can get a local guy.
Well, those guys are in the trenches all the time. Yeah. They've got it down just perfect the way they do it, and that's what we do on moving bulk dirt. So we do what we do best, and I'll hire somebody to do what they do best.
That makes sense. One of the things I've noticed that you do really well is branding and marketing of the Shackelford brand. Everybody's got logos on their shirts. You've got logos on the truck. Who came up with first the S, the Shackelford? Tell me about the Shackelford logo here a little bit.
We sat there and we always had Shackelford on stuff like that. And when we first started, and my wife kept just kind of looking through. I don't even know what she was looking through, and she found this font of this certain S.
Yeah.
I can't even think of the font of it now, but she said, "What do you think about this?" I said, "I like that. It's different. Yeah. It's a different S and it's a pretty cool looking S." I said, "Yeah, let's use that." So we stuck it on letterhead, stuff like that, and still not really focusing on it. And we had I don't even remember who it was, where it was. Guy, we was talking to somebody, goes, "Y'all the one with that red S?" And it went, bing.
Yeah.
Okay. So you noticed that S. Good or bad, you noticed the S.
Yeah.
So that's when I just try to blow it out of water. I mean, S on as much as I can. Hard hats, good. We got the S on. I mean, that's what we lead with everything.
Sure.
So, and it's and that's, you need, you want somebody to remember you.
Yeah.
But, everybody remembers somebody doing a great job, or everybody doing a bad job. But, you say, what was the name of that company? Well, they got that red S. Yep. So it's something real small that sticks in their mind.
Yeah, catches their eye.
So that's when we blew it out. And, our colors were white. Our trucks are all white. 18-wheelers white. Everything we got is white. And then, black tube boxes and stuff. And then red lettering on it. And I try to do it all the same colors and stuff because, again, they see that over there, a company or something like that, that's Shackelford. It looks like Shackelford. It looks like Shackelford. I get calls all the time. It looked like a Shackelford truck come down. I saw in some state, and I said, well, we're over there working.
That's right. When you're bringing new guys in, I mean, you have a lot of guys that have tenure. They've been here a long time. Mm-hmm. It's impressive. I've met guys that have been here. I mean, your company's really, you compare to some of these other construction companies that have been in business, multi-generational, 60 years, 80 years, 100 years, 10 years old, right? Plus or minus.
Yep.
And a lot of guys have been with you 8 years, 9 years, or the entire time. When you're bringing in new folks, and you set them in the conference room and you're kind of giving the intro to welcome aboard talk, what are some of the things that you try to instill in your employees right out of the gates from a culture perspective or from an expectations perspective?
One of the first things that I tell them is that, and it was the same way I was, and it's the same way it used to be, and which a lot of people still look like that, is, you're just throwing dirt, smoke coming out, you're 100% wide open, stuff like that. And the first thing I tell them, we don't work 100% wide open.
Yeah.
We work 80%.
Yeah.
Wide open. Now, when your feet hit the ground, you're 100%. Mm-hmm. But safety purposes, and we have trouble sometimes bringing guys that's never been in our field of chemical plants, stuff like that.
Sure.
And, we don't dig with any buckets with teeth on them. We have flat bars on all of them, and that's for, hitting lines underneath. You can mark them, you can look at them, but, we found one, thank God, we found one yesterday on a job that was not marked. And, really? Especially in plants, because, where are the plants? Well, we had a fire, 25 years ago that's destroyed those plans, and so-and-so's dead or retired that knew where it is. So they don't know where these are. So, I mean, it's just slow digging. And we get into places like that. We have a spotter there that's always watching as he's digging down through there. So I have to get that through them. And it takes a while for some of them to grasp that because they've been pushed.
They want to go wide open.
They want to go wide open, and that's all they've been told is push like it. No, we're going to sit back and we're steady. And we work 7 days a week. I'd like to take off on Sundays, every weekend, but chemical plants and railroads don't stop. They work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So, I said, look, we average every job 65, 70 hours a week. We rotate men out. We bring them in, or they just, they work it out where each one of them takes off at certain times. We always give people, because our guys don't abuse it, and they'll work out a month or something. And most of the time, we were going to work at least 13-1. So, comes the day you got to finally let somebody and say, no, go home. Well, I want to keep working. No, you go home, and maybe not home. They just may be at their apartment or, to clear their head and safety reasons, stuff like that, and fatigue. So, it takes a while to introduce them to that. And then I tell them, I said, look, first of all, I don't want to be a huge company. There's people that just want to be, top company and all that. And I don't know, to me, it seems like the bigger the company is, the less the percentage is net profits.
Yeah.
And
you start losing, it's harder to maintain the culture. It's harder to have a feel for what's going on in the company. And so as the business owner, you start to feel even disconnected with what's going on day to day. And the day to day for a lot of us is what we enjoy the most, you know? I mean, I'd prefer to be out visiting the job sites and talking to the guys and meeting with customers than dealing with the business side or the headache side of administering,
I don't feel like I can get anything done in this office.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still an outside person, and it kills my soul to sit in this office and, answer 200 emails over the week and something like that. But it's, and we're family business. My wife, when she get out of school, 3:30, she'd get home. She'd work 10 o'clock at night. Sure. She did our books. Then when we got Lori working, she did all of our safety and stuff. And she's just now kind of retiring and kind of getting out of over the last year of cutting back because we got so big and she traveled with me so much. It's hard for her to handle everything.
Sure.
And so we've had to pass that on, and rules and regulations and steady change stuff. So, she taught for 25 years, and then she's worked here for 10 years. So she's like, okay, now we got grandkids come along now and all.
She wants to enjoy some of that.
I want to spend some time like that. So we did that. And, but with my son, 3 sons, I got 5 children, daughter in college, one works Federal Bureau of Prisons, and then the 3 there. So, it's a family business, and I want it's not only family of blood, but it's, I want to look at everybody that works for me as family. And then I tell them that. I tell them all the time, I say, look, you're going to become a part of the family here at Shackelford.
Yeah.
And, if you're used to cussing and screaming and jumping up and down and, all that, you probably don't want to work here because you're not going to last here long.
Yeah.
As I said yesterday, I mean, we're with each other more than we're with our real families.
Sure.
So, guys rooming together,
be able to get along,
riding in the vehicle together and on job sites. And, I tell them, I said, whether you like somebody that much or don't like them, don't like the way their hair is, just don't like them, you're still your brother's keeper on the job.
Yeah.
We still look out for each other, make sure, my theory is, not really theory, but when you pass another piece of equipment, pass a person, whatever, you're not always looking at your equipment. You look at that piece of equipment when it goes by. It could be something behind him that he can't see or dragging underneath he can't see. So you're always checking each other's equipment. You're always watching somebody that's on the ground.
Yeah.
Always keep an eye on each other.
Looking out for each other.
Because it's the first time I feel like, and I've seen it pass on job sites years ago of, something happened and somebody was sitting over there laughing at them because it happened. You laugh if something's going to happen, you ain't working here.
Yeah.
If you saw something you could have prevented, you're not going to work here.
That's right. One of the things you mentioned early on, and I haven't, you've invited us out to see it, is the Christmas event that y'all have, your Christmas party. You do something special for your employees at the end of the year, don't you? Tell me about that.
We come in here and like I said earlier, we have our safety meeting, stuff like that. And then we brought them all to my house. I've got a big barn out there, and we'd have a band out there and invite their wives, they come and stuff. Wow. And, give them a chance to enjoy themselves. And, we have it catered and people come in. I did stop that last year. It got to be people showing up that I didn't even know.
Okay.
I mean, you turn around and I'm going like, hey, I know we've hired a few new guys, but and everybody, then we're all asking each other.
Yeah.
Nobody knows, and it's just we're in a small town community, and we've been doing it for 9 years, and then it's just more and more people kept showing up. Word spread. Shackelford's having their party, annual Christmas party.
People
So
just showing
what
up.
I did last year was at the end, I hired a caterer to come in the shop.
Okay.
And where we do our safety, and we put a little bit of music on right there, and just gave people a chance to socialize.
Yeah.
We cooked quail and
that's cool.
Oh yeah, so a prime rib, I think, and quail is what it was, and everybody kind of sit back and enjoy themselves and do it like that. And I'm gonna keep doing it like that, and maybe nobody else shows up. I can lock the gates here.
We had I think it was 2 years ago, similar thing. Christmas party's growing to the point where there's 100 plus or minus people showing up, and you're looking around trying to remember everybody, who they are, spouses, remember names. And there were these two ladies there having a drink. They're at the bar. They're walking around, and I'm scratching my head. I'm going, who are these ladies? I've never seen them before in my life. And then I started asking other people, do you know who these ladies are over here? So finally, I had to walk over there, and I'm like, I'm sorry. What are y'all's names, and who are you affiliated with here? And they said, oh, we're here on behalf of the mayor. And I thought, that sounds interesting, because the mayor wasn't invited to this party. And they had a stack of cards from the mayor's office that they either printed or got, and they were just handing them out saying, we're here on behalf of the mayor. And they were having a good old time drinking at the bar. I told them, look, I think y'all need to pack it up and go tell the mayor we said sorry, but it's private party.
It's amazing how creative some people can be. Free food and drinks.
We had the mayor crash the Christmas party this year. But it's interesting as you grow and scale. You want to stay in contact with the people, the culture, be hands-on. But sometimes you just can't. You can't be everywhere at once. You can't be on all the jobs. How do you manage through that as
that was
as
a hard thing for some of my guys that's like Don.
Yeah.
As we started, because I talked to them, every day, 2-3 times a day. And then when Lori got here, Lori's talking to them about something every day. And, I looked up one day, and every time I turn around, Lori's on the phone, kind of listening and stuff like that, and get to see what she's checked with. And I'm, Lori, how many times a day are these guys calling you? She said, well, half my day is spent. And I was like, we can't get nothing done in an office like this. So I finally, at the end of the year when we all got together, I said, look, Lori's off limits. I mean, y'all cannot call. She can't get her work done, And then I finally got to the point I had to tell them, I said, guys, y'all, I can't talk to. I was still talking to my superintendent.
Sure.
But I was talking to operators and stuff calling me during the day.
Yeah.
And texting this, I told them one day, I said, look, guys, I said, I'm sorry, but I said, look around the room how many people we got. If everybody calls me 15 minutes a day, I said, I'm going to spend 20 hours talking to everybody and no time for me to do my work. And I said, you got to go through your foreman, your superintendent go to your project manager, and then, project manager make the call. They need to call Hunter, head of operations, or me. And boy, it was. Well, that's hard. It was some hard. It hurt me.
Because you got guys that you worked with direct, may have been side by side operating equipment with.
I mean,
and now
we were starting. I was running equipment too, and doing book work at night, and bidding jobs at night, and running equipment during the day. And then next thing you know, 3-4 years later, you got to cut that off. And it hurt me as much as it hurt them. And but I just couldn't get to it, and it's. So it's taken a while to kind of even weed now the superintendents, and Hunter has to, he talks to them, maybe talk to all of them once a day, but if not, he's talked to them 2 or 3 times a week, and if not, because they're going to the project manager. So,
sure.
And if there's any big problems or something comes up, or something that's been change order or something, they want us to look at something different, they bring me in on it. But I get the real fun stuff. I get to deal with the insurance companies and the banks, and all that kind of stuff that goes with.
Sure.
And it's fun as I love running equipment and everything. Ended up, I got the worst turn job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's horrible. I hate a computer, and I can't work one hardly as it is, and now I got two screens. I mean, like just to come in here and say, well, you look this, and so next thing I know, they got me on two screens. I ain't never going to use two screens. I'm steady moving stuff over and looking. Also,
well, there's no handbook to how to do this job. There's no running a business for dummies that you can just pick up and
there's a lot of times I wish there would have because we sat there and would have forms to fill out and the way we're going to do stuff. 6 months later, we have a new form. We have to do this. And I told them one year we was talking and had all of them together. I said, look, guys, I know y'all think we're nuts in this office.
Yeah.
But we're growing so fast that we're outgrowing what we had, procedures we had.
Sure.
So Reeves had worked for Sunland Pipeline Gas Company. And so he was used to doing on a real big scale on jobs, $1 million, $2 million jobs. And so he come back to work for me, and, I had him writing our contracts, redoing, and I got with my lawyer, and I said, okay, here's where we are now. I want to have everything in place that can double where we are now.
Sure.
So we don't have to. And it took him 3 or 4 months working with the lawyer, for a simple contract, a big contract, all of our change order forms.
Just to get your legal docs.
Every single thing, and how the project managers, and I showed you a project manager book in there but every one of those, we didn't steal information from somebody else. We went in there and rewrote every single thing. The bid program we use, Reeves designed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he designed. He did an internship for Buddy Mine's construction business, and he designed their bid program, and they still use it to this day.
Really?
He said they've tweaked it some, but the basis of it, and he's steady building programs. If we get into something we've never done, you can bet it ain't gonna be long. We'll have a program for it.
They have a system that does it. That's awesome.
So he's trying to make it as easy on the other estimators as he can.
Yeah.
He'll have all these calculators built in things no matter what we got, and shows you, if you got one traco and the distance, you put in the speed, and we know it's going to be traveling, how fast we're loading, and then it tells you how many trucks you need to have on it. If it needs 5 trucks on it, 8 trucks on it, 2 trucks on it. So he's always steady building something.
You guys have grown tremendously over the years. What's next? Where are you going to take this thing?
I've never had a goal for I want to do X amount of money. Yeah. It's just I kind of had an idea of kind of where I wanted to be, but I just never really set that goal to it. As long as I knew the percent of profit that I would like to try to make.
Yeah.
And we've done that, and which we passed that number several years ago.
Sure.
And so it's just we've grown every year. We've been in business anywhere from 12% to 60%.
Wow!
And a 60% growth, the tail starts wagging the dog, and it gets real scary. I mean, you're running around, and you're getting things like we didn't have all the procedures in place to be that big.
Yeah, sure.
And you're running around. I mean, we lost. I lost all my hair that year.
Yeah, right. Me too.
And if you look at my boys, you see the hair steady falling out of each one of them. So.
Well, you get to that point where you almost have to. You don't want to slow down the growth, but the business has to catch up with the size of the organization, or you're just taking on more risk.
No, you're outrunning. You're outrunning your money. You're outrunning your employees. You're outrunning your equipment. You're outrunning your procedures. You're outrunning your safety. I mean, it was that year. That year was wild. Only year we did not grow was in 2018. We talked yesterday, I think, about all the rain. Yeah. We had the backlog. We missed it by about $200,000. We just barely missed it that year. And we had the work, but we rained out so much, we couldn't do it. So I kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. I'd like to at least beat it by $1. But the following year, we turned around, and that was like one of those 60% growths.
Yeah.
19
blew it up.
We've had several big growths, but last year was a huge growth. Year. And we're down a little bit this year in volume from what we've had been doing, but the virus and pushing jobs off and people kind of holding off. People don't want as many people on the job. We schedule for 20 machines on the job. Well, they want 10, because they don't want the safety meetings and stuff, have a bunch of people around. So it's been kind of a weird deal. Percentage is fine.
Sure.
Percentage, matter of fact, percentage net profit's up.
Profit's getting better. I think, and as you keep refining your business, I mean, you've showed us several things over the last 2 days that you've tried to do more efficient, keep higher productivity, and ensure that you can refine. If you're doing X amount of dollars in revenue, how can we do better bottom line on that same dollar amount? Even if you did the same volume, if we can do it better, we'll make more money at the end of the year.
I'm always pulling my P&Ls for July, every month. So I had this year July when we closed out, and last year July. So I'm steady looking down through there and not looking at the money, because the money can be up or down. I'm looking at the percentages to see, okay, this specific item was 2.4 last year. We're at 2.1 now. So I don't worry about that. I'm going through there now. I see a gap where it was 5% and now it's 12%.
You need to drill.
Then I'm fixing to find out what in the world is going on there and find out. And it's like I told you, our repairs have been up this year bad. We just a lot of off-road water truck problem stuff. I've told you how I'm trying to fix that. So when we see something like that, we're trying to get into it and dig into it. What's going to be? We're never ever going to cut a job on how we do it and the quality work we do. We're not going to cut a corner. I'll fire somebody. I'll lose money. We're going to do it. But we've always got to be looking to see how we can cut cost. And make things more efficient. I see people all the time. Why don't you work on your own stuff? Why don't you change your own oil? I'm not in the mechanic business. I'm not in the service business. I'm in the dirt business.
Whatever
production
keeps that equipment, whatever keeps that equipment running, outruns whatever savings you're going to have by having some guy try to do your own oil versus getting a shop.
I've done it both ways, and I can save a little bit of money on services and stuff like that. But that man's down, that piece of equipment's down. Now we get it timed where, CAT or Komatsu's coming in. They'll call and go, okay, when's the best time to service? Man, we can't the next 2 days, but we're going to be doing such and such. If you can be here at 10 o'clock or 6 o'clock that morning or 5 o'clock that afternoon. So we'll schedule it where that guy's doing something else. He comes in there and knocks it out and he's gone. Plus, we don't have to worry about the oil. We're not worried about, we change oil in, what are we going to do with it? So if they got machines on there that sucks the oil out, and then they carry it around with them, and then they dispose of it the proper way.
Let's talk about current times a little bit, because yesterday when we were talking, we're living and experiencing something that
I never thought I'd see.
Never thought we'd see. It's almost like we're living in a sci-fi movie, walking around Houston, and everybody's in a mask and social distancing.
Like I'm in another country.
Kids are at home, not going to school. No sporting events are taking place. I mean, the whole world is turned upside down. And so how has that impacted you? And, what have you had to do to mitigate that the major impacts to your business?
Well, I'm sure you've done it. I'm sure most people have done it. And I wake up in the morning sometimes and I'm going like, man, I had a bad dream. And then as you're waking up, you're like, it's really not a dream. I mean, I've had that happen several times.
Oh, yeah.
It was weird. And actually, I don't know if you've been having a lot of dreams or not, but I was talking to a doctor friend of mine, and he said everybody has been complaining to him of dreaming more because everybody's out of their routine. And things are different from them. So their mind is working overtime at night. And he said people's having a lot of different dreams. So if you had a bad dream, it may know why now. But,
with this.
We just, like we said yesterday, we've had to really work hard on changing the way we do things. So, you got people trained to watch alcohol abuse, drug abuse, even though we drug test randomly all the time. I never know when I'm going to get pulled, anybody's going to get pulled. But I've had to tell my people now, my safety people, my foremen, project managers, PMs, everything is, if you got to watch everybody now. If they're coughing, stand away from everybody. Their eyes that just, get kind of baggy, saggy, almost like they're real tired or something like that. That's been some signs of COVID. if they're having to go to the restroom more, to watch out now and see.
Yeah.
And we've got heat guns where we're checking temperatures on job sites. We do that. Plus, we've got some guys that in the plants that they do it far from off through, scan everybody. So that's been a big deal. Pat has to, since we work in 26 states, she has to check with the state, see what their regulations are, check with the county, check with the city or whatever where we're working, and stay on top of that. Because it's almost kind of like doing a one call, every 11, 12 days. I mean, you better be.
Yeah, because it changes by the news hour. A lot of times you get a new policy passed the next day, and all of a sudden,
and things you don't hear
got
about.
to quarantine for 2 weeks, or you can't air travel in and out of the state.
That's right.
A lot of your work, though, is probably considered essential.
Working with plant, matter of fact, we've got some stickers. We've got some stickers on the side on the windows. We've got letters from energy companies that show essential workers. So, pretty much everything we've been doing is energy related lately. Yeah. So, we kept on working through. We got stopped, especially my guys that live in Louisiana with Louisiana tags. Yeah. We got stopped in Texas a good bit.
Really?
And, luckily, none of them lived in New Orleans. And they let them go, and they showed them the letter. What are y'all doing over here? You go, this is where we're working. We're working for ExxonMobil. We're working for so-and-so. And showed them the letter, and they say, okay, go on. Wow. So we did get checked, and 99.9% of the officers were very good to work with, but we have run into a couple that they didn't care if it had a letter or whatever. It was get back to Louisiana, and not in nice words.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So where do you think the world's going with this thing? Is it are we changed forever?
Oh, we just got to about November the 4th, and the virus will be over with.
Just to the end of this election?
I did some research, and if I got bored one night sitting which is not very often, but I was sitting in the bed, and I was kind of looking at things. I looked up, the flu versus the virus, and every day since January 1, and there's more people, about 100-something people dying more of the flu every day than that. And I'm not going to say the numbers on it, but I heard them on radio the other day and talked about how many people are dying a day of drug abuse and alcohol abuse. Oh,
it's got to be tremendous right now.
I'll say what I think I remember, but it was talking about almost like 10,000 a day. I mean, it was a staggering
the social impact of this thing, of people being at home, depression, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, domestic violence, suicides, the job loss.
And instead of millenniums, one day we're going to have the COVID babies.
Yeah,
because it's going to be bigger than the baby boomers. I mean, it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. It's there are 197 people die a day in car wrecks in Texas alone. That's almost as much as people dying of COVID in the United States.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know where it's going. I just know that we got to keep working. Everybody's got to keep working.
Keep adapting.
We got to get through. And I've got a saying, it's kind of like Marines. You got to adapt and overcome.
Well, I think as I've been able to talk to business owners and experience it myself, folks ask you, or I'm sure you've been asked, how did you do it? What was the secret? What helps you growing and helps you be successful? And a lot of times I've got, folks' responses, there's no secret, right? But the ability to solve problems, the ability or the drive to work hard and do what others maybe aren't willing to do or won't do seems to be a common theme. How important is that adaptability, innovation, problem solving to the success of Shackelford?
Well, I kind of tried to run my business like I raised my kids, and it's kind of some of the same principles that what you do. And one is, no matter what's going on, you always be honest.
Yeah.
It's if it's something that bad happened or whatever, your kids break something in the house or you got worker out there does something, come to them, don't hide it, get it out.
Yeah.
Get the problem solved right then. The longer you wait, the worse it's going to get.
Yeah.
Especially, if you try to cover up and hide it. So, I tell everybody all the time, I don't care how bad it hurts. It may hurt the company. We may lose money on it. Be honest with people. Let's go to it and let's work it out and say, look, this is what happened on the job. We need to all get together and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And work hard. I mean, there's, if you're going to do something, I mentioned it running 80%, and that's not the work ethic. That's just how we're running machines. Be consistent, and I have found over the years that we don't tear up as much. Our maintenance is down, even though ours is up some this year, and I kind of know why on some rough jobs we've had. But let's be consistent with what we're doing, but let's work 110%.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't believe in 100% when it comes to work or something like that, or raising kids, or even playing around. I mean, if I'm gonna do it, I want to do it 110%.
Yeah,
let's get after it. I mean, my wife don't even like to play checkers with me because I want to win.
Yeah,
I'm competitive.
You got to be. I mean, you got to be competitive to do what we do. You got to have the drive. You got to like winning and like the challenge of competition. And a lot of folks that are in this industry and just business owners in general seem to have that common thread of competitiveness and drive.
And it's got to be friendly competitive. My competitors, I'm not going to get every job. Don't want every job. And they're in business to make money and all, and they beat me here, beaten, and the good thing about it is when you and your competitors, kind of come friends.
Sure.
And can talk and discuss things, and then every now and then you even help each other.
Yeah.
I've got guys partners with me, and that's kind of in another business, and we help each other. I mean, we don't really get into competitors like we used to now, but I mean, I've got 4 tractors and pans running on a big job up toward Memphis for him now. And he called me about another one today. He said, look, I think I got this negotiated. If you don't mind, I'll roll those tractors on over into this other job. I said, get after it, man. Let's go.
Man, that's
Let's get
cool.
it. So, you don't cut nobody. You don't talk about other people. People talking about other businesses to owners and stuff like that. And it don't work out.
Well, the owners don't like it. They don't want to hear it. They just want someone to come do a good job.
And every now and then they'll ask you, how it is. What you think about so and so? Look, all I know is what Jay's doing, what Shackelford's doing.
Yeah.
I hear things on the street here and there, and that's just what they are, is hearing things. So I'd rather you can nowadays you can research anybody, whatever, however you want to, but I don't have time to see what everybody else is doing. I have enough time.
You do got your hands full.
That's right.
Well, man, I can't thank you enough for letting us come out. It's been amazing watching the growth and learning more about the history of the company and your family. You got an awesome family. It's cool to watch you guys working together, your boys and your wife and everybody.
I don't know how much they think it's awesome sometimes. But
well, I think I watched them at dinner last night, and there's a lot of respect there at the table for what you've done and for the example that you set. And, I've listened to them talk over the years and had the good fortune of interacting with them as well. So you've done an amazing job here. And actually, I've learned a lot going through this process, just working with you. I love looking at other business owners and what they've done.
I do too.
There's a lot of things that I take away from each one of these interactions to say, I need to do stuff differently or better.
I think there's 2 things that you can learn from every person and every business is what they do good and what they do bad. And I think you need to look at both of them.
Definitely.
And that's one of the things I taught my kids when they work for different people over the years is, learn what they do and all that. But at the same time, look what they're doing bad or wrong.
Yeah.
Because you can always do something right. But those things you do bad and it hurts you, it hurts you bad. So you better learn from their mistakes and stuff.
That's a good point.
And I still drive down the road sometimes, man, and I'll see it come across a construction site. I'll whoop off side of the road.
Go take a look.
Just sit there and look and see, because there's always something I can pick up from somebody and go, you know what? Hey, I never thought about that, or I might can tweak mine or something. So there's always something somebody can learn.
Good, man. Well, let's do this again soon.
All right. Let me know anytime.
Appreciate it. Appreciate all the help, and we'll look forward to another discussion and working together some more, huh?
Sounds good to me.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.